All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our another lunchtime live with myself, Daniel Tribby, and Dr. C. We are the team at Regenerative Sports Spine and Spa, and we do this every week to kind of bring you guys some new information on your bone, muscle, joint, and spine injuries, and kind of talk a little bit about what we do and how we believe that more natural treatments is the way to go. Using your own body to heal versus having surgery, steroids, taking medicine, those types of things. So we're going to talk a little bit about today about shoulder blade issues and why they can be a significant part of or contributor to your shoulder pain, and why all the medicines and steroid shots and surgeries are not going to fix that. So we're going to dive into that. But first, how are we doing today, Doc?
I'm good. How are you?
I am all right. I wanted you to feel like you were talking to a brick wall today.
There you go. Sounds good.
Yeah, perfect. So,
I often do.
Indeed.
Metaphorically.
Yeah, I got it. So with the shoulder, tell us a little bit about the shoulder blade. Like, what is its big thing? I know sometimes people consider the shoulder blade like the fourth joint inside the shoulder. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So the shoulder blade is an interesting animal. So it's what a lot of people point to as their shoulder. They kind of do this. It can be the neck, or it's like the shoulder blade is obviously lower than that in the upper back area. And it does contribute a lot to shoulder pain and instability sometimes too. So it can either, have movement issues, either with too tight muscles around it, to loose muscles and ligaments around it, or you can have even nerve injuries just to the supporting muscles around the shoulder blade. So this is something that's often missed and not looked at. We just wanted to educate you guys a little bit on this issue as well, just so you're aware that this can be causing some issues in your shoulder as well.
Yeah, so the shoulder blade, strange enough, you've got a lot of people consider three main joints that are part of your shoulder. So you have your collarbone that connects to your sternum here and comes out. And then that connection right there makes your AC joint. If you hear people having a shoulder separation, that's the one they're talking about. And then you have the actual ball and socket. And then a lot of people consider the fourth joint of the shoulder. I don't consider it. I think it's not really a joint, but they consider how the shoulder blade interacts with your rib cage. So the shoulder blade, when you move your arm up and down, the shoulder blade should move like a windshield wiper. It should slide across your rib cage. But a lot of people, what you'll see happening is as it slides, it opens like a door. That's not supposed to happen. Okay. If your shoulder blade looks like a Lamborghini door, that's a no-no. All right. It should stay flat against your shoulder blade. And the way you can, what's that?
Now it's Tesla.
Or a Tesla door. There you go. So the way you can tell, and this is one reason we have a brick wall here, is to stand against a wall and take your arms and raise them up to the side and all the way over your head, and see if you can feel any point of your shoulder blade pressing into the wall. If you feel pointy nodules of your shoulder blade pressing against the wall instead of your shoulder blades actually gliding against the wall, you have improper movement in your shoulder blades. And what happens there, that's usually a muscular thing, right? So when the shoulder blades aren't staying flat and moving like this and they're opening up, what happens is you'll see people who are a lot of times rounded, right, in the shoulders. And this puts a lot of extra stress on the actual ball and socket joint and those smaller tissues, right? In recent weeks, we've talked about the rotator cuff. So when we get extra stress to the rotator cuff, what usually happens, Doc? What do we usually see people in our office for?
You get tendonitis and bursitis. So micro tears, essentially.
Right. Or some people might call this impingement. You hear that a lot as it relates to the rotator cuff. And what is actually happening there is you've lost control of the musculature around the shoulder blade, which is now putting extra stress on the rotator cuff or some of these other problems or some of these other tissues. So when that happens, people are going to treat the site of pain, right? And usually that looks like what?
The shoulder joint pain. So,
right. So, right. But how do they? And so they're treating it how, though, is what I'm asking most of the time.
Steroid injections, and then physical therapy. Right.
So, and then obviously if you've had enough damage over time from poor shoulder blade movement, you could have caused tearing to the tendon. And so our step is to then do surgery to fix that. Okay. So, but if you don't have a really good physician or PT, physical therapist, whoever you're seeing that's looking at your shoulder blade movement and they're only addressing your site of pain, you could be in for a lot of problems, right?
Right. So especially if you're not taking care of the problem in the shoulder blade area, if there's a lot of weakness there, you continue to put a lot of stress. So despite if you treat the actual joint itself but don't treat the shoulder blade, if that's an issue, then you're going to have recurring issues over and over again.
Right. And this is a common thing that people do, right? Especially in orthopedics, where treat symptoms instead of causes of symptoms.
Right.
Right. So if I have shoulder pain or inflammation or tendonitis, I'm going to treat the tendonitis, but not always the cause of said tendonitis, right?
You're right.
So what would be your recommendation for people when they have potential shoulder pain from a shoulder blade issue? Try saying that 5 times fast. Jesus.
Well, the first thing would be you need to do physical therapy to correct any imbalances that you have. So if you're winging out is what we call it. So then it's like you need those muscles, to strengthen in that area that's supporting it. The other thing that can happen, Daniel didn't touch on this, but sometimes, the shoulder blade doesn't move like it may move out, but then it also may not move like enough. And so then if your muscles are too tight around that area, or just you may have scar tissue, you may have just tight muscles, just limiting the motion of the shoulder blade, that can really cause a lot of stress as well. So it can go either way. So you really need to address all of those issues. The only reason why I know it's like, because I actually had that same issue. I had shoulder issues, but then my shoulder blade was not moving as much as it should. And so it's really tightened down, and that caused a lot of issues.
Yeah, you'll see people tip to try to make that happen, and then there you'll see this creep up towards the ear. So I can't get the shoulder blade to swing out, so I creep up like this to try to make the elevated height in my arm happen. Okay, so if you're experiencing those, like, watch yourself in the mirror. So you could stand up against the wall in your bathroom, like I just showed you, move your arms out and watch what your shoulders do. Do they actually move uniformly and together? And do you feel them slide against the wall behind you or dig into the wall behind you? You'll know. And so if you're having shoulder pain and this is an issue for you, you definitely need to get involved with some physical therapy to help you regain control of proper movement inside the shoulder blades. And then once you've done this, if there's still pain persisting, what's something that we should consider versus more medicine or steroid injections or possible surgery?
For this type of thing, actually, platelet-rich plasma is awesome, because it really, if you have tight muscles, it can loosen them up and help some of the scar tissue, if there is any, repair and then reduce. If the muscles are too loose, it can also help. So in general, it helps repair with some growth factors and anti-inflammatory. So those injections along the scapular area can really help with some of that repair if you're not getting enough relief with the physical therapy. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then tell us a little bit, just PRP. I know we talk about this every week, but for new people that are joining and not really familiar with PRP, talk a little bit about what that actually is and what its purpose is inside, or how we use it at Regen.
So it is platelet-rich plasma, and it's something that we get from your blood. So we get some blood out, spin it down, and then we get a yellowish substance after we centrifuge it, and that has growth factors and anti-inflammatories, all kinds of good things to help with helping with healing and repair of any damages, micro damages, things like that. So around muscles, ligaments, tendons, it's a great substance for those types of tissues. So if you were having, scapular area stuff, we would inject it along the scapula. But if that caused a tendonitis or bursitis, we can also treat the shoulder joint as well. So it's like, so we can really treat the whole area with this great stuff.
Right. It's good. I like it. And it definitely is a healthier solution. It's better for the joints than using a steroid, right? Steroids are great at reducing inflammation, but also great at causing further degradation to those soft tissues like your cartilage and that kind of stuff. So.
Right. And then it's like, if you're doing it to help with some of the repair of the muscles and the tissues, the steroids don't do that. It's like, so that would be the reason to do the PRP instead. So.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Anything else out there when it comes to the shoulder blade and typical inflammation that we see? I think next week we need to tackle, or we're going to tackle, frozen shoulder. So this ought to be interesting for a lot of you people who've had frozen shoulder or adhesive capsulitis, or excuse me, capsulitis. We'll talk about that fun little issue. But anything else in this world of shoulder blade and what it can typically cause and how people should pay attention to that, or make sure they're going to a provider that pays attention to that?
I think that's really the most important thing, is go to a provider that actually looks for that. If you have shoulder pain, not just the shoulder joint itself. So that is very important. Lots of people have this issue. It is a very common thing. So you may have not have heard of it, but it is commonly causing problems in the shoulder joint. So that's, I think, pretty much it.
Perfect. Well said. All right, everyone. We hope you're staying safe and staying healthy. If you are having bone, muscle, joint, spine issues, or particularly this shoulder problem that's been lingering around you can't get rid of, and you're in the greater Orlando, Central Florida area, we would love to be able to help you with a more natural solution so you can get back to enjoying life as it should be. So, right? Stop losing sleep at night or being unable to work and losing time, throwing a ball around or playing your favorite sport, hitting golf, hanging out with kids, whatever it may be. So we want to be able to help you with your shoulder issues. So definitely reach out to us. There's a link on this page here. You can click it and get more information about what we do, call, schedule an appointment. And if you're not in the greater Orlando area, and this is something that you definitely want to dive into, we do have some pretty cool VIP packages that allow you to have a ride to and from the airport, stay locally, have a driver to and from the stay and to your appointments and everything else. So kind of a unique experience that we provide for you. So anyway, if you're having shoulder stuff, you're watching this post live, definitely ask questions, drop them in the comments. We will answer them for you. And in the meantime, we'll see you guys next week. Take care, stay healthy. We'll see you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Bye, Dana.
Thanks, Doc.